In this episode of the Purpose Pro podcast, we're going to wrestle with burnout. We're also going to grill Joe's top 3 movie choices and see what those reveal about his leadership.
It's outstanding.
Hi, my name's Chad Wright. You're listening to the Purpose Pro podcast with the Catalyst Collective. I'm here with these two jokers. Hold on, you want to read this?
Yeah, read that.
Welcome to Season 4, Episode 6
Oh,
of
not
the
the episode
Purpose
number.
Pro podcast.
Okay,
It's good.
Say it again. Go.
Welcome to
Just not the episode number.
Welcome to Season 4, Episode beep of the Purpose Pro podcast. Our mission is to connect you to your unique design and purpose. If you love learning simple, effective ways to lead yourself and others well, this podcast, my friend, it's for you.
Zach, you're so fired. Okay,
That
Chad,
was
read.
the best this whole season.
Yeah,
welcome.
that was good.
Not
I
only
like
did
it.
he remember the words,
Yeah.
unlike you.
Yeah.
That was off the, those were the words? I literally just made that up in my head.
Silky,
Man.
Holy
smooth,
crap.
Okay.
buttery voice.
is
Now
incredible.
let's let Zach introduce you here. Read. Let's see what happens.
Today we are hanging with Chad Wright. Chad is the founder of Forward Partners, and he's on a mission to set leaders and entrepreneurs up for success by helping them achieve more without burning out. And you reignite their passion for work again.
How did he do?
Where did you get that?
Dude, it's on your website.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow,
Well,
I read really well.
Yeah, you
I
did.
didn't know
You
that.
Somebody wrote that well, even if it wasn't you.
I
It was
wrote
your wife?
every word on that website.
Did you? I bet
Yes.
you did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Zach,
Okay.
you did phenomenal. I'm
Why,
really
thank
proud
you.
of you.
Thank you.
So, Chad, we sent you a list of very important topics that we think people are going to want to lean into.
Absolutely. So
And-
we're going to talk about baseball.
Yeah, totally. That's
Okay,
exactly
good.
it. So, question number 1, what the hell is wrong with America? Why are people so unfulfilled?
Yeah, we're just going to start off real small.
I told somebody the other day we do not take on small problems, so that is right up my alley. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's do it. I mean, like, because you're kind of in the business of, like, helping people who are on the edge of burning out, shooting up a place or something. You know, it's like unhealthy has been the mantra, and you're coming in saying, no, we can reset here. You can learn to find rhythms that draw out the best in who you are, reignite your passion for work, and bring the best out of you. But, like, let's just talk about the macro picture for a while because everybody hates their job. What's happening? What do you see out there, man? Why is everybody so angsty and unfulfilled?
You know, it's funny. I encounter people every day that really love their jobs. And here's what's interesting, because we're going to talk a lot about burnout tonight. Everything we do is around this idea of how do we defeat burnout. If we can teach leaders to be healthier and defeat burnout, God, they can go do anything they want to do. It doesn't matter what their job is. What's funny is it's people that genuinely love their jobs that are the most susceptible to burnout because they put zero boundaries around it. It's just, hey, I love this. I'm going to give it everything I have. And then they break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giving everything you have. I mean, that includes like your mental health, your
100%.
family,
Yes.
time with friends.
Yes.
And yeah, of course you're set up for burnout.
100%. Happens over and over again.
Do you see it in a particular industry or sector?
All over
That's
the place. It does
all over
not
the-
matter.
doesn't matter.
It does. Because I really do think this is something, and I don't know that it's uniquely American. I haven't studied enough to understand that, but this is a problem that is very, very endemic in just who we are as a country. We believe that everything has to be bootstrapped and you have to be strong. You can't show any vulnerability. You have to move as fast as you can, find success as fast as you can. And that success has to be world-changing. It can't just be down here. And the problem is when we pursue that and we don't do it in a healthy way, we're naturally going to burn out. And so if you look at almost every organization out there, it is a system that is built to burn people out. We plug people into this system. Money comes out the other side.
Okay, wait, stop right there. First of all, our producer would like to remind Zach to lean back in his chair so that camera 3 can get a good angle. But aside from that,
Lean
can
back.
we?
It says
can we-
lean back, Zach.
Can we?
Sit back.
Can we?
Hold
can
on.
we drill in on that for a minute?
Well, yeah, because
If Zach will lean back, yes.
you have done this with everybody from police officers to rabbis to me,
Yes.
right? Like you and I will sneak away and go eat tacos,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you will just help me process my
I love
burnout.
going for walks and talking about leadership.
Yep.
That's what if I were single, that's what my Tinder profile would say.
Is it?
Long walks on the beach and talking about leadership.
Okay.
Nobody would ever date me.
So the system is not set up to lead people towards success or something like that. All right, press into that. What do you mean by that? Like,
It's a good summary, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I lost it in between everybody yelling at me and flashing signs at me here.
I think the reality is that every system that we work inside in most organizations, it is not built to keep people from burning out. It is built to burn them out. Now, not intentionally. Like, it's so funny how we'll help an organization develop purpose. And then I always have this big slide that pops up that says, are we okay burning people out to achieve this purpose? Every one of them says, no, absolutely not. Say, okay, now let's look at every rhythm you have, every system you have, and how many of them are genuinely burning people out. So we say we don't want to do this, and yet we build systems that do this because they're not built to value people and to care for them and to say that, hey, our purpose is great, making money is great, doing whatever it is we do is great, but are we willing to kill people in the process?
All right, I like this. Give me an example of something that all companies do that just that leads to burnout, that sets people up for
I think one of the
failure.
I think the keys to most of this is unhealthy leadership, and I think a lot of that comes from the fact that they say, "Hey, Zach, you are good at making a widget, and we're proud of you for that. So now we want you to lead these 10 people that make widgets." And yet they do nothing to equip you to then go lead people. And making a widget and leading a human is a very different skill set. And so if they're not setting people up to actually do that well, they're going to learn how eventually, hopefully. A lot of them don't, but you hope they will. And the problem is they develop these really bad habits. And if you don't know how to lead a person, you don't know how to communicate well, you don't know how to take care of them, and if you're then showing up as an unhealthy leader, you're just going to breed all that unhealthy side effects that comes from that.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. I'm thinking of that, like hurt people kind of thing. Like
100%.
Burnout
Yes.
leaders create burnout employees.
Yes.
And do you think that we have workplace culture that like encourages burnout because we praise how many widgets, how fast, how great you've got to push forward in order to set yourself apart. If
Yeah.
I'm not burning myself out, how am I going to get recognized?
And that's the thing is, what do we measure? So what we measure and what we value in most organizations is money and busyness. How much money are we making and how much are we getting done? The problem is those are infinite measures. You will never have enough money that you stop and go, we're done. You'll never accomplish enough tasks that you go, hey, we're done. This is amazing. And so if we take these infinite measures and we apply that to finite creatures, people that we are not infinite, eventually we're going to break. If there's no boundaries, there's no sustainability anywhere in there.
Another conversation altogether, but like busyness doesn't equate to effectiveness.
100%. Man, when I just came from a networking event and I love being at those, and I'll meet somebody and I'll say, how you doing? And I'll hear, man, we're busy. And I always stop and I say, is that a good thing? And it's funny how many people stop and they kind of think about it for a second and they go, I don't know. Because busyness is not helping us necessarily if there's no intentionality behind it.
Yeah. I don't have time to know. I don't have time to think about that. Too busy.
Yeah.
Can I just say I hate the how you doing question, because when it's the thing we all say because it's the right thing to ask.
Yes.
But to actually answer that question,
Yeah.
you don't actually have time to answer that question or go into it.
Here's
so you
what's-
end up
okay.
saying something like, it's good, I'm busy.
Let's go down this rabbit hole. Here's what's really funny.
Okay.
The place we're shooting this has these crazy long hallways, right?
Yeah.
And so I work out of here as well. And so I'll be walking down this hall and people ask me, hey, how you doing? And whatever you hear out of my mouth is absolute truth. Because if I'm having a shitty day, I'm going to look at you and say, man, it's kind of a shitty day. And I mean it. And I'm not trying to bring you down or anything, but you're asking, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
The more we can get people to be vulnerable and be honest, the more that question will actually have a little weight and matter. Now, most of the time what they're going to hear, because I do a good job of leading myself, most days they're going to hear, man, I'm doing excellent and I'm excited. And then they go, oh, okay. And I could just see them kind of walk a little differently because they encountered somebody that's genuinely excited and doing well.
So what about the person that you turned to him like, how you doing, Chad? They're like, I'm about to go beat my child and think about getting a divorce. How are you doing?
Let's talk about that.
Yeah?
Let's
talk about that.
Let's go for a long walk.
That's
team-
the problem with that question. That's the last thing I want to do is talk about that.
Here's
What
the
you
thing.
want to do and what you need to do.
My team will tell you nothing will derail our productivity as a company faster than me encountering a person who's having a rough day. Because I'm like, okay, talk to me about that. And I want to understand why you're having a rough day. Let's dig into underneath, not just, oh, I'm mad because I fought with my wife. Why did you fight with your wife? Talk to me about that. How are you showing up to these arguments? Let's dig deep. We've laughed. I'm not the fun guy. I'm the let's talk about serious things guy. That's just who I am.
And you're good at sniffing it out. Like, I will run into you in the hallways, and I'm like, I'm okay, Chad. And you're like, that doesn't sound like you're okay. How are you really doing? And the next thing you know, I'm crying over tacos. And I love it, and I need it, and I'm thankful for it. So let's.
But he wants me to leave him alone in the hallway.
But I can't get stuff done when I'm crying, Chad.
I understand.
So let's press into this. Like, what does burnout look like? What are some of the signs and the symptoms? Besides crying over tacos.
Yeah, true or not true. Most people who are burned out don't realize they're burned out.
I don't know. I think a lot of them realize they are, but they don't necessarily know what to do about it. So they just go, well, this is who we are. Like, I think people fall into this hopelessness of burnout is just a reality, and I don't think it's possible to change it.
Yeah, okay, just normalized it.
Yeah, it's of course I'm exhausted. I work for a living, and I have kids, and I hate my job. Like, yeah, I'm exhausted.
Okay, so tell us some of the signs of burnout, and then Zach and I are going to kind of rate our own level of burnout and see and see who's winning.
I think burnout is ultimately a lack of hope. Burnout, like when you look at your life and you feel hopelessness in any area, I think that's a huge sign of burnout. But
burnout at work would mean hopelessness about your career?
It can translate that way. It just, I look for hopelessness in general, because here's the thing. We are not separate creatures. We are not, here's the work me and here's the home me. We are me, right? And so we're not all me. I'm me, but you get what I'm saying. We can't separate the two. So if you go to work and you are miserable, like you hate every second of it, you're exhausted, you got bad leadership above you, you're losing hope at work, it's not like you're going to go home and be the A+ dad. You're not going to be the best parent. Like, this bleeds into every single area of our lives. And so we're not then going to be the best parent. We're going to feel some guilt from that. We're going to show up to work already angry and exhausted. And it's just a cycle that just feeds on itself.
Okay. Hopelessness. I like it. What's another one?
I think feeling overwhelmed. I think overwhelmed is a huge one. Like, I can spot that in myself. When I think about my day, I'll think about, man, I'm going to encounter Zach today. And I'll think about him and how can I talk to him, and I hope he's doing well. When I'm burned out and when things are going rough, I don't zoom in on Zach. I zoom out and I feel like, oh my God, this whole world is so big and it's overwhelming and there's too much and there's so many problems. How are we going to survive? So that kind of overwhelmed feeling of just that. And again, I think that's where the hopelessness comes from. Is I'm overwhelmed and I don't see a way out of this.
Yeah, when I'm overwhelmed, people become like an inconvenience or a burden and not 100%. An opportunity.
We become really inward focused. And that's the funny part about burnout, is it causes us to be very inward focused. We are suddenly not worried about our family as much. We are not worried about our coworkers as much. And so when we try to get people to be healthy leaders, part of what we're trying to get them to do is turn outward, to say, hey, I'm going to focus on investing in myself as much as I can, so that when I show up to a situation and we have to face a challenge, I'm focused outward on other people. I'm not focused on myself and how will this affect me.
Yeah. One of the perspective shifting things that you do that I love so much is this is a 40-year journey for you. You went through 5-year plan,
I got to cut out a lot of pizza for it to be that, but yes, that's my hope.
And so you're in it for the long game.
100%.
And you don't have to do everything today.
Whenever I encounter somebody, my goal is not that 6 months from now they're this incredible leader. My goal is that 10 years from now, their life looks very different. And that gives me a patience to say, man, little progress. Hey, you are not a healthy leader today, but what are we going to do tomorrow to kind of move in that direction? And so I really do have a 40-year vision for what we want this to be. I want to be 85 years old, standing on stage yelling at people about leadership as long as they'll listen to me. And honestly, by 85, I won't care if they listen. I'm just like, I'm going to yell. You just sit there and shut up and pay your money.
Where does pants go? I would pay money to see that.
Yeah,
40 years, we'll think back on this episode. I'm going to watch it.
But think about how that has to affect my choices today. If I'm going to, I had a salad for lunch today. That was very intentional. I literally sat there and went, God, we got some really good pastrami. We have some good pastrami at the house. We got some really good cheese, and we got some fresh croissants, and I was like, I really want that. But I didn't. I had the salad because I want to be 80 and yelling at people. And I know I had to come yell at y'all tonight. And so I was like, I'm going to do that well if I've got salad powering this brain. So
I had pizza and
Such
wings.
discipline.
You
Yeah.
can see me get progressively fatter over this season of the podcast. It's
y'all
because
only been recording this for a month.
but the beginning of the month I was on keto and discipline. I've cast
have
off
you
a
been
little bit of
through?
vision. And
Okay.
I mean, we film in Texas, and if it's 100 degrees outside and Zach's wearing a coat on the podcast, it's not because he's cold.
It's an image thing.
Yeah.
I got you.
Today's Purpose Pro podcast sponsor is Kenneth A. Camp Coaching. If you are a small business or nonprofit, odds are you have a great business idea or a passion to meet a need. However, sometimes you feel alone, especially when things seem to not be working. But you don't have to be alone. No one person has all the answers. Kenneth Camp is a business coach that helps small businesses and nonprofits accomplish their mission by using proven frameworks that remove the mystery and produce results. Go to kennethacamp.com/MBR to take a free business assessment today. Now, let's get back to Joe and Zach.
Okay. I think you're very attractive, just so you know.
Well, thank you.
This is nice. Y'all want to?
Best beard on the show.
No, it's best that you sit between
Well, y'all
us.
Yeah.
can exchange numbers later.
okay.
Hey, okay. So,
Is that the weirdest thing that's ever happened on this?
no,
Okay.
but we can keep pushing to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're on track, but
Sorry,
we'll
this
get
is-
there. Okay, so.
Chad.
So stop
you,
whispering to Chad so I can ask the man a
Don't
question.
ever whisper to me. That's so scary.
We're beating up the problem pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
but you represent the antidote in what you do. So talk to us about healthy leadership.
Yeah.
Like, what is it that you're teaching? How do people escape and turn things around? Or I don't know if escape's the right word, but I think a lot of people can resonate with being overwhelmed, hopelessness, and a lot of the things you're talking about here.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
We phrase it in terms of defeating burnout. I view this, and I tend to think in these weird grand terms, but this is like a dragon that we have to defeat on a daily basis. So it is, do we have the tools necessary? Are we investing in ourselves in the right way to be able to then show up as the healthiest version of ourselves? And then we look at our whole system, my organization I'm a part of. How can I help transform this organization to be healthier, because it's part of the problem? And so it's investing in yourself and investing in all the leaders around you. And so it is just these daily disciplines of, am I doing the right things to care for myself so that when I show up and the challenges do hit, am I the healthiest version of myself? And, we talked before we started, I think a couple episodes ago, y'all had Bradley Rapier on. Mm-hmm. And so he had a quote at this conference that just hit my soul. He said, you are spontaneously the person that you practice to be. And so that's our whole goal, is how do we get leaders to practice being more healthy so that when things do go wrong, because they will absolutely go wrong, you have the right responses. You are able to make better choices because you're healthy. Mm-hmm. That's the whole goal of it.
Mm-hmm. You would probably agree with this, even though what you do, you're in the market of helping leaders and people in the workplace, but it sounds like these principles apply to marriage and parenting as well,
It's
right?
everything. It is helping you be really a healthier, I call it leading yourself. So if you leading yourself well, you will be a more patient parent. Mm-hmm. You will be a better spouse. You will be better at work. Everything you do in life is going to be better if you are a healthier version of you. Because if you've practiced being an unhealthy version of you, then your response to everything is going to be unhealthy. And so we have to practice the opposite of that.
Mm-hmm. What's some of your best, most practical advice? Like quick tidbits, like this, do this. If you're, obviously we want people to connect with you. You've got courses, you do workshops, there's trainings, lots of different ways to get the full material. But if somebody's listening to this and they're really on the brink, and you're going to drop some nuggets of hope here, what do you tell them? What's some practical advice they could do today?
My favorite advice, and it's the advice everybody hates the most because they don't know how to do it, is to rest. We are not designed to run 24 hours a day, and yet we've built this world that is all about that. Everything around us, down to the phones that are in our pockets, are designed to keep us engaged constantly. We have to learn to rest. We have to learn to be restored. There's these rhythms to life. If we go through an entire week and all we do is pour out constantly, we deal with stress, we deal with challenges, we make progress, that is draining. And so then if we go into our weekend, we're already probably not going to be the best version of ourselves that weekend. But if we don't rest and we don't find a way to do that, then we're going to show up the next week and be an even more unhealthy version of ourselves. And so learning how to rest is huge.
All right, real question. Zach rests by getting on his phone, scrolling, and buying stuff. Does that count?
Okay, I will say
think
rest
so.
looks very different for everybody,
Thank you, Chad.
but I don't know if that's restful or
buying.
not.
Yeah. But yeah.
We're going to edit out the second half of
Yeah.
that.
It's everything in proportion. So for me, a walk in the park is restful, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I go for about an hour. If I go walk in the park for 9 hours, that is not restful. It's being intentional with everything you do. So we help leaders figure out, how do they rest? How does life get restored back to them? What are those activities? That's all you're going to focus on your day of rest. And it requires a ridiculous amount of intentionality.
So I had a friend that introduced me to a term one time, and it was the idea of a bastard Sabbath.
Okay.
Like there's a difference between resting, which is restorative.
Yes.
Like it's life-giving.
Yes.
And just vegging out.
Yes.
And watching
100%.
12 hours of Netflix.
Yes.
So
That's it.
Yeah.
right
How do you
there.
find true rest?
It's being intentional about it, about saying there are some things that, like, I play games with my kids. We'll play video games. Again, if I do that all day, that's not intentional. That is not restful. That's very unintentional. But if I will play with them for an hour or two, we connect, we talk, that is intentional and that's valuable. And so for all of us, it's just the intentionality of, how do you find life restored back to you? Let's do that. Which is funny because, I mean, we all have kind of worked and walked in the church world. If Sunday is your Sabbath and you're in the church world, you are totally screwing it up.
Yeah.
Because going to church and working and serving for 4 or 5 hours is not restful. It is work.
No, it's typically been Monday, but Monday's just
You're exhausted.
that
Monday.
day sucks. Like, what do you
Yes.
want to do on a Monday that's restful?
100%.
And most recently when I was doing it, I was bivocational. So it was like Saturday prep for Sunday, Sunday not restful.
Yeah.
Monday you're back at it. So
Dude, you want to talk, almost every organization that I deal with is very unhealthy. They're burning people out, so we got to fix that.
yeah.
Churches are maybe the worst at this because it's for a good cause. It is for God. And so we're going to take a person, oh, you're good at a thing. Come do that thing for God. And then we put them on this path to do that thing, but we never check in and go, you doing okay? Like, how are you today? Are you tired?
Because it's what they're supposed to be doing.
100%.
Right.
And then they break. They get mad at the church. They get mad at God. They disappear. And we're like, what happened? I can't believe these people aren't in the church anymore.
They're resting.
Exactly. Like and it's just interesting to me that churches are so bad at that.
That's a good one. So I like rest as any other thing that comes to your mind, most practical thing somebody could do right now.
I think a huge one is really self-reflection. It's pausing long enough to say, how am I actually doing? And we don't pause very well. We don't like quiet. We don't like slowing down. And so if somebody can learn how to stop and have a rhythm where there's a specific time, whether it's daily, weekly, whatever it is, this is my 20 minutes, this is my hour, this is my half day, whatever it is, to stop and say, I'm going to take inventory of my life. I've said I want my life to be a thing, to look a certain way. Does it? Am I moving in that direction? Am I actually doing the things I want to do? And that ability to just stop and take inventory helps you find out if you're off track. Most of us don't burn out, and we don't get off track because of these wild swings, right? It is not, I always describe it as, if you're 50 pounds overweight, it's not because you ate 50 pounds of steak last night. Like, it is not this big, wild, one-time thing that drags us into burnout. It's these little bitty shifts. It's these little decisions here and there that over time we were just a little off. But even being a little off gets us in the middle of the desert, and we're lost, and we look around and go, how did I get in this desert? That's a lot of it.
There's a story I heard someone tell, and I was thinking about it earlier when you were talking about dragons. And it's like, yeah, the dragon doesn't just raid the village. Typically, like, it starts with an egg, and it's really small and innocent, and you're real excited about the possibility, and you almost nurture that dragon to health, and then it grows up, and eventually it's too big for you to handle.
Yeah.
So deal with it early on. Find out how you
100%.
deal with it early on.
Yeah, go kill that dragon while it's still an egg.
Shameless plug, your Facebook group is a great place for me to find self-reflection questions.
That's incredibly kind.
So yesterday, top 3 movies.
You're asking or you're telling?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
would they be for you?
Top 3 movies. I would say Moneyball, Greatest Showman, Warrior.
And see, from those,
Interesting.
now you know a lot about Joe.
I really
Yesterday,
do.
my answers were.
And I'm a little sad about your top 3.
What are yours?
It's
Like
just not a great top 3.
Bambi, Alice in Wonderland, or what?
Jaws. What did I post yesterday?
Jaws.
Jaws.
Talk about hopelessness.
Godfather Part 2.
Yeah.
Oh, more
and
hopelessness.
Crimson Tide. That was my top 3 yesterday.
and occasionally,
Yeah.
A Few Good Men.
Occasionally A Few Good Men. I just watched that again the other day. Every time it climbs a little higher. I love, I don't even remember the writer's name. I'm old. Sorry.
And so mine were.
Aaron Sorkin.
There you go.
There you go.
Patch Adams, Space Jam, Braveheart.
Which really, like, you're an Enneagram 7. That feels right.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're going to go fight, and then we're going to go hang out with Looney Tunes.
I'm about
that's,
it.
That's about as Enneagram 7 as a list can get.
Formative, but little questions that jog self-awareness.
Yeah.
And I think I thought about that the entire way home. So
You know, it's funny how so this Facebook group he's talking about, it's just a free leadership group we have. And every day we just post, every weekday, because we're resting on the weekends, we just post one question about leadership, something to help you think about how you're doing. Like today's, I think, was, are you leading with empathy and grace? That's our gauge for emotional health is, are you leading with empathy and grace? Because when you're emotionally unhealthy, you just don't give a crap about other people. Mm-hmm. And it's always interesting. You'll get a couple responses. And the first one was like, it's funny you posted this because yesterday was not my best in these categories. But today I'm going to try to do better. And so it's just a chance for leaders to have some vulnerability and pause and have self-reflection. And really being a healthy leader, none of it's revolutionary. None of the things we need to do are revolutionary. We just don't do them.
I mean, this has been jam-packed with practical nuggets of wisdom.
Is this your way of telling me it's over? You're kicking me out?
Yeah, this is the way I'm saying, like, hey, strike while the iron's hot. How do people get a hold of you? What do they do? What do you want people to do here?
Hey, I think the best thing right now for people, if you go to forwardpartners.net/Monday,
okay.
we have a email newsletter that we send out every Monday at 6 a.m., and it is just a short thought about leadership, something to get you focused in the right direction. And we're designing this for people that have their phones on. We're designing this.
That would be my phone.
Is that really your
Yeah.
phone? You
Somewhere out there.
Let's answer it.
Yep.
Why do you have your ringer on? Not because of this, but
generally.
in general.
It gets, okay, here's the flaw with the iPhone.
Uh-huh.
It's on the side, and I just fidget with it. And
okay,
so
that
when you
makes
when you
sense.
fidget with
Yeah.
it, you can't remember if it's like on or off.
Yeah. Because if you leave your ringer on, you're kind of a monster in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously,
You're one of those people that we can hear you texting.
You want to change your life, turn your ringer off and turn all notifications off. It will instantly change your life.
So recently they added that new mode where you can do like focus, driving,
Yeah.
I'm at home. And so anybody that texts me, it goes straight to do not disturb.
Yes.
And I don't receive their messages. That's why, I promise.
But here's the thing.
They force
Are
it.
all those messages really that interesting? Like, do you really
No.
need... I turned off all my notifications years ago. Turns out almost nothing I got was actually like, you need to see this second. And what I found is now I'm focused. When I'm talking to another human, I'm focused on that human, not what's happening in my pocket with this phone.
Yeah, but what if you need that like text or buzz because you really want to get out of that conversation, and that was your only way out?
I know you're an Enneagram 5 as well, but I don't know if you're the healthiest one in the world.
I'm pretty close.
I'm a relatively healthy Enneagram 5, and so when I start engaging with a person, I want to go deep and understand everything about them, so I'm not worried about getting out of the
No,
conversation.
I must have missed that part of the manual. Okay, so all right, so forwardpartners.net/Monday.
Monday, yes.
Okay, the Facebook group
Monday.
Forward Partners is is
it's
you
hard
on
to get
Facebook?
to. It really is hard to get to.
It's hard. Like you're
Just
fishing
search-
around. It's like it's
search
gonna be
for-
like an Easter egg hunt.
Yeah. Search
Yeah.
for Chad Wright. Connect with me. Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
It's on our website because we have a great website.
You have a great website.
Just go to
that you wrote.
forwardpartners.net. Bottom of the front page, there's a little thing about the Facebook group.
Yeah, and listen, if you're not following this podcast by now, then you should be because you would get all the show notes, links.
How
to
are they going to
everybody
hear
on
this
here.
if they're not following the podcast?
So they could just be listening. You can listen without follow.
Just randomly?
Yeah, whatever. Someone sent you this. You heard a clip somewhere. I
Okay,
mean,
gotcha,
like,
gotcha.
you know,
Okay. Just
I
checking.
don't know.
I don't know how technology works.
Well, if you're not following the podcast, purposepro.org. Get to the podcast. Follow, subscribe,
They're lovely people.
Like, comment, subscribe.
like, comment. I don't care what you do, honestly. Like,
Okay, hang on. I know we got to go. I get
yeah,
this.
okay.
So Joe and I go to these networking events. I think you were at this one.
Mm-hmm.
Enneagram 5s, we tend to be kind of introverted. We tend to also not really want to interact with a lot of people. So we walk into a room full of people. It's exhausting for us. I love watching Joe because I see what he does. He'll go and talk to the 3 people he already knows, and then he'll go get the food even though nobody else is getting food, and he will go sit by himself. And I admire your bravery. Like, I feel like I have to talk to people.
That's bravery.
Yeah.
I'm avoiding the
That
hell
is-
out of
no.
everybody I should be talking to. But
That is you being you. And my problem is I'm like, I feel like I have to talk to these people, so I go and I do it. But your version of networking you said was, hey, I'm going to put cards at the back. If you guys want to call me, just look at the card. But if you don't, that's okay. That is my ideal version of networking.
And I was thinking about it. Because
not the most effective
We're never going to end this
works,
podcast.
Though. Yeah. Some people, they're trying to get your affection, right? They come sit at the table with you. They're like, I'm going to reach out to that guy.
Hey, listen, you want a pro tip?
gonna
If
make
you
him
do
love
know
me.
an Enneagram 5, engage with them because they know everything and they will help you in ways you cannot imagine, but they're also not going to reach out and like actively make that happen, so you better make it happen.
yeah, no, that's true. That's good.
Joe can change your life.
Yeah, but Chad would do it better and probably faster. So listen, if you're at a place where you
Hang on, one more thing I want to say.
I'm totally
kidding.
What
I love
what
this
else does
game.
this man have to promote?
Just keep going.
Okay, all right. If you're at a place where you're looking for clarity and direction, purposepro.org, sign up for one of our workshops. We'd love to walk you through your unique design, talk about your purpose. We'll also probably uncover all the millions of ways you're burned out at the moment, and then connect you to Chad.
Yes.
Boom, it's the best of both worlds. No, but seriously, dude, it's an important topic. If people want to make a true impact, then we have to fight for the healthiest versions of ourselves.
Yep.
And there's just not a lot of content out there like what you're talking about.
Yep.
You know, we can learn how to do leadership, the X's and O's of leadership all day long, but very few leadership books are going to talk about the things that you brought up in this podcast. So I really appreciate it, man.
Hey, man, love you guys. This is fun.
All right.
Thank you.